The future of the Star Wars franchise seems to be quite expansive, not just with their books, novels, comics, and video games, but also their live-action and animated TV series that come on Disney+, as well as the new Star Wars Trilogy, also known as the fourth Star Wars Trilogy. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the one thing about Lucasfilm is that they are currently very much hard at work on really trying to develop a better future for Star Wars. And that's one good thing about Lucasfilm as of right now, is that they really are trying to patch things together, all because of the new Disney CEO, Bob Chapek, who recently took over the role of Bob Iger as a CEO, where Iger is still showing him the ropes to becoming a proper CEO of Disney. And that's one thing. The other thing that does kind of, I guess you could say, worry a lot of fans is whether or not Chapek will be able to pull this off with the new Star Wars universe, right? We do know that they are developing this new expanded universe that is actually said to be far larger than the old one that we got back in the 1990s and the early 2000s, you name it. So looking at everything related to the fourth trilogy, this is one project that I honestly am very excited about because it's going to have a different tone. Kathleen Kennedy is no longer involved on a creative scale because she lost her creative control over the existing Star Wars projects in the early development phase. And I think that really does spell a light at the end of the tunnel here. Now, on top of all of this, what's really intriguing is, of course, now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with The Rise of Skywalker, they are focused on their new Star Wars trilogy of films that will introduce a brand new mythology of Star Wars fans around the world. It's explained that currently Disney's CEO, Bob Chapek, is primarily focused on the 3 new Star Wars films that are said to be darker and more gritty than ever before, that will bring fans back into the world of Exegol and the unknown regions in the first film of the new trilogy, dubbed as Star Wars X. Now, it's noted that the Sith Eternal will be explored in the new Star Wars trilogy that will explain exactly who the Sith King was, the one who actually once ruled the world of Exegol. Lucasfilm is also developing a series of Sith gods that will be explored in the new Star Wars movie. These Sith gods are actually said to be eternal Sith lords that watch over the galaxy that were created by the fallen Wills that will be introduced in Star Wars X. Kevin Feige, a producer, is currently in discussions with actress Jennifer Connelly to portray a brand new villain in the Star Wars trilogy that will truly evolve the franchise, where not just that, but also Lucasfilm wants to explore the world of Korriban, where the graveyard of the Sith will be explored over in the Outer Rim in the new Star Wars trilogy. It's noted that Lucasfilm will dive into the concept of Sith spirits located on the world of Korriban that will actually be used as a threat at one point in time in the new Star Wars movies. They are currently developing, of course, where the new film is also described to showcase how the Wills were created from the very start and how they were able to create the entire universe. So, the thing about Star Wars X, this fourth trilogy as a whole, you can see how force-heavy it's really going to be, and what I mean by that is, it's going to dive more into the mythology of Star Wars, right? And that's honestly what I like more. That's something that I personally enjoy on a much grander scale here. You know, when we look at everything related to the Jedi, the Sith, dark side warriors, these gods, and especially the Sith King, this is going to be a very interesting aspect of the films. The Sith King of the world of Exegol is going to be explored in this new Star Wars trilogy. So that throne that you do see in The Rise of Skywalker that Palpatine essentially claims as his own actually once belonged to a Sith King. And that particular king is going to be one of the new villains in this new Star Wars trilogy. So, very interesting material. Obviously, the fact that we're going to be heading over to the unknown regions again and exploring other aspects of that region of the galaxy. Lucasfilm is also developing a brand new region that we have never seen before, essentially adding something else to the map of the current galaxy that we all know and love in the Star Wars universe. Obviously, the Wills that will be introduced and exactly how they were created is going to be something that George Lucas will be handling, because George Lucas, after all, is the creator who actually developed the Wills. He is the one who came up with the idea of these beings that watch over all the adventures of the Star Wars films. Everything related to what we see in the originals, the sequels, the prequels, the Clone Wars, Rebels, you name it. The Wills are watching over everything that actually happens. And that's very interesting to think about now, isn't it? That there are actual creatures watching over all of the different wars that take place between good and evil. So the last thing I just want to really point out here real quick is that this new trilogy is going to be more darker, grittier, if you will. It's going to have a Game of Thrones tone to it, or a Lord of the Rings tone to it, if you will, mixed with Star Wars. And I honestly kind of like that. I will say, some people out there may very well disagree with me on this, but I think that, at least for once, the darker the better for Star Wars. At least for one trilogy. The darker the better. Granted, you know, if you look at the prequels, yes, it went down a dark route at times, but these new Star Wars films are going to be something else. It's going to have a different tone. So with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again. No.